Hello dreamers! Today's video is something I've been working towards for a long time. Some of you may recall that I've mentioned I've been working on a mysterious story for over 3 years, and that story was Batman all along, baby. The concept behind this is basically a what I would write if DC hired me to write my own Batman TV show type scenario. Batman has always been one of my all-time favorite heroes, and his rogues gallery has been of great interest to me for as far back as I can remember. One of the best things about Batman is how versatile of a character he is. He has existed for over 80 years now, and has had his story told in drastically different ways during that time. Sometimes with a more light-hearted campiness, sometimes with a heavy focus on detective work or action-adventure, and sometimes with a very dark, gritty, or even psychological interpretation of his character and mythos. Heck, you could even plant him in a different time period or country, and somehow it still works as a Batman story. However, Batman's versatility is also one of his biggest weaknesses. With his character writing changing from writer to writer and from movie to movie, many people's interpretation of his character stems only from whatever Batman media they happened upon first. Some see him as a misunderstood beacon of hope. Others see him as a crazy rich guy who beats up mentally ill people, or even a vigilante edgelord who likes to aura farm by standing on gargoyles and brooding. As you can see, depending on who you ask, you will receive a wide array of completely different answers just by asking someone what they think of Batman. I, obviously, have my own strong opinions about how Batman's character and ethos should be written, so why not throw my own hat into the ring, make my own fan story with my own fan designs? But before I go any further, I think a change of outfit is in order. Much better. Now that the mood has been properly set, let's jump right into how I'll be writing the characters in my story and what they'll look like. Bruce Wayne is a billionaire who turned his personal tragedy into a fuel for his crime fighting. We are all familiar with the story of his parents' deaths and the fact that he moonlights as a bat-themed hero. Bruce Wayne, or Brucey, is often seen as nothing more than a rich philanthropist playboy who sports a fake shallowness and attention-seeking behavior. Of course, this is nothing but a farce, an act to cover up his secret identity as Batman, the highly intelligent, highly trained crime fighter of the night. And the Batman most of us are used to is a loner vigilante type. Dark, cold, gritty, a symbol of fear who cares more about the mission than those around him, and sports a seemingly absurd no-kill rule. So, how do I want to write him? Well, I basically want to write 3 different sides to Bruce, if you will. His false public persona, Brucey, Batman, of course, and Bruce when he isn't filling either of those roles. Brucey is Gotham's darling and most eligible bachelor, known for his charitable heart of gold and dumb luck at business. He uses this carefully crafted persona to personally dismantle Gotham's corrupted elite. Instead of having him be a shallow playboy, I prefer Bruce to present himself as an incompetent, lazy, and clumsy yet well-intentioned and seemingly innocent guy to the public's eye, inspired by how he was portrayed in most of his early comics and for the first couple seasons of Batman the Animated Series, otherwise known as BTAS. Regarding that Batman is well known for his intelligence, I think playing dumb works much more in favor of keeping his alter ego a secret than being a jerky womanizer. I also think it would help him avoid becoming a target of the corrupt business tycoons of Gotham if, when he undercuts them, it's believable that he didn't do it on purpose. Everyone in Gotham thinks it's such a shame that a bright kid like Bruce was so mentally stunted by trauma. Even his most devious business rivals feel pity for the guy. He dresses in extravagant and colorful suits to black tie events, and though seemingly disheveled and garish, every outfit he wears actually has a harmony and put-togetherness that reveals to the sharp eye that he's much more competent than he'd like you to think. I feel like it's important to say that I don't subscribe to the whole Batman is the true face, Bruce Wayne is the real mask line of thought. To me, the Brucey persona and Batman mantle are both masks that Bruce wears to get different jobs done, but at the core, both Brucey and Batman are equally Bruce Wayne. And because of that, I want Bruce to play a much more active role in this story. Many writers decide to cut Bruce moments to focus more on Batman. And though I understand where they're coming from when they do that, I think they're missing out on some mad story potential, like actually getting to see Bruce's business strategies and plans to help Gotham's economy. I remember seeing Bruce play a much more active role like this in BTAS, where he not only helps pay for criminals' mental treatments, but also offers rehabilitated criminals jobs and housing. And that's exactly the kind of thing I'd like to explore with his character. Bruce Wayne is not only a handsome face, he's also a genius, tech-savvy detective, and an excellent fighter. He is also highly empathetic towards the people of Gotham, doing everything in his power to help. He is introverted with a bit of an avoidant attachment style caused by the loss of his parents, and he deals with depression and paranoia. And since he has difficulty expressing his emotions or love for others, his love language is definitely acts of service. Very few people in my story are aware of this side of Bruce, thinking that his Brucey persona is just who he is naturally. Bruce created the Batman mantle to clean up crime and to protect others. He knows what it's like to need a hero and not have one, and he doesn't want anyone else to go through what he has. Although Batman does use some fear tactics, I don't think the point of his character is just about trying to prevent crime by striking terror into the criminals of Gotham. At his core, Batman is an extremely empathetic hero, giving of himself to save innocent bystanders and criminals alike. He is also an extremely hope-driven and hope-inspiring character. He hopes not only for a better Gotham, but for the redemption of Gotham's rogues. That's why I think his controversial no-kill rule makes sense for his character, or at least I think it's one of the biggest reasons it works. I think the first reason his no-kill rule works is his deep respect for life, an undying hope that as long as someone's breathing, they can change their ways and redeem themselves. The second reason being, he's not the judge, jury, and executioner because he's not a vigilante. He is a hero. He helps ensure criminals face actual justice, not just his own brand of it. This is exactly why I named my story Batman Gotham Hero, because I think it instantly lets you know what flavor of Batman you'll be getting from me. And here's the completed character sheet for my story! Yay! I am really happy with how everything came out. I tried to design Bruce Wayne as not too bulky so that it's not immediately apparent that Bruce Wayne is living a double life, and so it's believable that he could pull off acrobatics and agile fighting moves. I also wanted to make the underside of his cape a bright blue, not only to make his silhouette clearer, but to hint that, though he seems dark and scary on the outside, the brightness of his inner cape reveals the true hopefulness of his character. Alfred is known as Batman's most faithful friend, butler, and surrogate father figure. Without him, Bruce's life would be much more bleak, lonely, and disorganized. Alfred keeps Bruce grounded as a person, not only by showing him unconditional love, but also by providing the necessary pushback to Bruce and his shenanigans. My Alfred doesn't really differ from this. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In my story, Alfred is a burned British intelligence agent who had already trained to become an exceptional butler for one of his undercover missions. He had no family to return to after receiving his burn notice, and he was quite done with bloodshed. So he decided to try getting hired as a butler in America and live a more peaceful and quiet life. The rest is history. Alfred is very kind and caring, but also dry, sarcastic, and at times stone cold. He is unafraid to speak his opinions and give criticism, but he is never rude about it and remains a perfect gentleman. He's the kind of person who will learn your favorite food, perfect how to cook it, and always make it for you. Similar to Bruce, his love language is also acts of service. Not only does he cook and clean for Bruce, but he will assist him with any skills he learned as an agent, which definitely comes in handy for the many capers of Batman. Through Bruce, he not only found a new purpose, he found a son. And there he is! I drew him in his classic butler attire and a Wayne Enterprise chauffeur uniform. And of course, I had to draw him with some coffee to give to Master Bruce. And now, without any further ado, it's time for the villains. There's basically two versions of the Riddler that the general public is most familiar with. The more classic and goofy Jim Carrey version, and the creepy, psychotic online influencer version from the latest Batman film, The Batman. And though I like both of these versions and how well they fit into their respective movies, my Riddler's personality falls somewhere in the middle of the two. The Riddler has had a lot of different backstories over the years. From working for Wayne Tech, to working at the Gotham City Police Department, to running his own video game company. Sometimes his backstory has been as simple as just being a guy who likes riddles. Every backstory for him was so different that it made it difficult for me to figure out what exactly I'd end up doing for him. But at long last, it finally came to me. Ever heard of a compulsive liar? Eddie is what you would call a compulsive truth teller. He can't tell a lie, no matter how hard he tries, which gets him into a lot of trouble over the years. Luckily for him, he realized that telling the truth through a riddle would save him from any trouble this compulsion might cause him. Later in his life, he dropped out of college to become an entrepreneur, ditching that campus of idiots to start his own brain teaser company. He sold riddle books, puzzles, you name it. But in the end, it was a bust. Eddie was sick of being constantly surrounded by incompetent people who couldn't understand his great genius. Surely beating the Batman in a battle of wits would finally gain him the praise and recognition he so desperately craved. Enter the Riddler, a brilliant master criminal who is as extravagant and stylish as he is cunning. He has a bit of a narcissistic personality disorder and suffers from delusions of grandeur. He has amazing detective abilities and is one of Batman's most intellectually challenging opponents. Riddler doesn't really care for others, but he cannot live without their praise and adoration. This leads to his extreme jealousy of Batman, making him devote his entire criminal career to proving his obvious superiority over him. Riddler has only one soft spot: his love and infatuation with none other than Batgirl. Not only is she beautiful, but she also has a genius intellect, meaning she is the only woman in all of Gotham who can truly understand him and meet him at his level. Though he holds her in very high regard, Batgirl meets any romantic advances of his with her fists. I'm so happy with his design. It was honestly a lot of fun to draw. I wanted to give this Riddler outfit shoulder pads for an added flair and a more retro look. His question mark mask is more of a stylistic choice on his part than a way to hide his identity, because Edward wants everyone to know exactly who he is. I also decided that he wears fake glasses sometimes just because he heard that they make others think you look more intelligent. If you are familiar with the character of Batman, then you are more than familiar with his most famous villain, the Joker. I mean, he's been fighting the Bat since Batman issue number 1, way back in the 40s. However, most are unfamiliar with what the Joker was doing before he became, well, the Joker. Though no one truly knows the entire past of the Joker, in some stories, he worked for the crime families of Gotham as a hitman under the moniker Jack Napier before he became the Joker. Jack Napier is just as sinister as the Joker, but he is much quieter, preferring to exist in corners and shadows, rather than in the spotlight, like he would later be known for. He sports a sly, smug smile because he knows how terrified others are of him. He realized soon that the kind of power he held over the lowlifes of Gotham was wasted serving the Mafia and not himself. And so he donned a new identity: the Red Hood, leader and co-founder of the Red Hood gang, which was made up of other former Mafia workers. Now he could finally start taking over Gotham's underworld and overthrow the 5 crime families. However, though the Red Hood was now a boss instead of a hitman, he still had to share his success with an entire gang. He still wasn't the center of attention. After an unfortunate fall into a vat of toxic chemicals during a fight with Batman, Red Hood's appearance was forever transformed. His hair had turned green, his skin had bleached pale white, and his sociopathic personality was more intense and zany than ever before. This accident gave him the perfect opportunity to make a name for himself, and himself only. He shed the moniker of the Red Hood and changed his name one last time, and became the Joker, Clown Prince of Crime. Joker has antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic traits and tendencies. He often has severe mood swings and is generally fearless. He is a master manipulator, and he can discern other people's flaws and fears very quickly and very accurately. Though he can strategize rather well, my Joker isn't really a master planner type villain. He is far too impulsive for that. Instead, he will often hijack other villains' plans and totally steal their thunder. Joker will only commit crimes if he finds them funny or ironic, making his movements very unpredictable to Batman. He is a complete wild card. He might blow up a town full of people one day just to have a laughing match with Robin the next. You never know what this man is going to do next. Sometimes you can actually stop the Joker from committing a certain crime by ruining the punchline he had set up for it. He'll get so frustrated that he won't want to do it anymore. But sometimes nothing can ruin the joke for him. And that's when Batman really has to work hard to take the Joker down. And here are his finished designs. I love how all of them turned out, especially the main Joker design. I made the collar of his classic purple suit look like a jester's hat and made his coattails to match. I changed his red clown lips to black because I thought it looked a bit more menacing, and added the dots on his cheeks to give him even more of a clown look. I also made his buttons resemble the different card suits, and pointed the tips of his hair to make them look more like horns. And those are all the redesigns for this video. I would love to hear which one is your favorite in the comments. I'm working really hard on making this TV show idea of mine into a fanfiction/fan story. So whenever I finally start posting the chapters, I'll link it in the description of this video and my community posts. Batman has always been very close to my heart, and my love for his character has only grown through the years and through my research. And this story of mine is basically my way of sharing that love with others. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of my story and designs for Batman Gotham Hero with all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!